town. I'm the one you call when you need a tin up or down. I'm a tin rental man, I'm working all day, getting those stakes in the ground no matter what they say. From sunrise to the night, I make sure everything's right. Yeah, I'm a tin rental man, I'm working all day.
All right, welcome back. This is another episode of Under the Vinyl, a rental management media podcast. Nate, Monday at the ARA Show, and to be honest, an hour ago I thought it was Tuesday.
It is. It feels like it's been a long week so far, and it's only Monday.
It's only Monday.
I lost track on Saturday, Saturday or Sunday. So yeah, so we're doing really well.
Yeah,
but we've got some great guests lined up.
We do.
It's been a good show so far. Obviously, it's only day one, but we're having fun. But we got a great guest. So today we got Jeff Crotto on. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming along. I'm glad we could snag you.
When you said you had great guests, I assume that means after this episode?
Well,
you got great guests lined up?
We were going to invite Brandon Ogren, but
yeah,
but you weren't great guests.
Yeah, we wanted great guests, so here we are.
Understood.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're working our way through the flirty group. We'll probably not take Brandon, but we'll see what happens.
At this point, he may not come on just out of protest.
We just keep this thing going. I feel like we have gone through the flirty group now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think we're pretty close.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. We're being biased, but
we're really just trying to get invited on one of their trips. But
yeah, tell me about it. As much as we get invited to their suites and everything else, we figure we at least got to have them on here, right? So Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we know that you've fulfilled lots of roles with ARA, but just go back on your business here, the real job and what you really do.
Huh.
This episode of Under the Vinyl is brought to you by Anchor Tents and Clearspans, a fifth-generation family-owned company making tents and clearspan structures right here in the USA. Anchor isn't just about selling the best products on the market. They share decades of experience and stand beside you as you grow your business. Anchor's craftsmanship and engineering give you a peace of mind and will allow you to use the equipment for years to come, season after season. For the next generation of rental owners and installers, Anchor aims to not just be your supplier, but a trusted partner helping guide you into the right products to grow your business. Call to be connected to your sales rep today, 1-800-544-4445, or visit their website at anchorinc.com.
Yeah, so I started All About Events in Jacksonville, Florida in 2010, September 2010. And I had about 5 years or so with another rental business in Jacksonville. The family owned, I always say not my family, obviously. But I just felt like it could be done better. Everything was done through the prism of the company versus for the customer. And my whole background was, waiting on people, taking care of people that wait on people, training people to do that sort of thing. So yeah, I just felt it could be done better. So I got in an argument with the owner one day, and that night I went home and I bought the URL we use today, and I put together the worst website you've ever seen in your entire life. I didn't own a table, I didn't own a chair, but I put a website together with some tents and tables and chairs on it. And
this is prior to AI.
This is prior to AI. It's prior to AI. But it was a horrible website, but
obviously it worked.
Customers started calling, and I mean, I knew what I was doing when I could sell when I got the call and stuff. So, but, so it's, started in a 10x10 storage unit. So
what'd you do for your first inventory?
So I rented from a company in St. Augustine. I rented tables and chairs for a month, and I bought a 20x20. And I literally had it shipped to FedEx and had them hold it at the terminal. And I rented a budget truck and picked it up and unpacked it at the job site and put it up and went to work at the other rental store for the morning. It was on a Saturday. And I had to go back, pick it up noon. So when the store closed, I went back and picked the tent up, put it back in the budget truck, drove it to the storage unit. And on the way to the storage unit, I was literally calculating the diagonal of the cube to figure out if the reds would fit in the 10x10 diagonally.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's literally how I started.
And
did it fit?
Yeah,
they did fit. So I basically put the tables and chairs in the back, and the reds were the diagonal, front corner to back bottom corner. And then I got a call for a 20x30, so I bought a mid, and that's just the way it went. Yes.
So did you tell the other rental owner company that you were working at what you were doing? Are you secretly doing this?
I didn't. I did it. It's funny because I went by Jeff, and I answered the phone I went by JJ, because my middle initial is Joseph, or middle name is Joseph. So I went by JJ because I always secretly wanted to be called JJ. So I went by JJ. So I was literally, it's a true story, I'd be at the rental counter, phone would ring, I'd talk to him, Jeff, give me, and then my phone would ring.
Same customer.
Same customer. So I would
JJ.
go outside and take it and answer it as JJ. And I would try to, talk a little slower or whatever to make so it didn't sound exactly the same.
And how
But
long did this go on for? before you...
6 months.
Okay.
And I got to the point I had 2 jobs back to back on a Thursday and Friday. I just couldn't do anymore.
Yeah.
And they never caught on.
They never caught on. And so I resigned. And I did when I went in and gave my, turned myself into the owner, he said, you have a plan? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, do you know where you're going? And he said, you have a plan? I said, yes, sir. And he goes, it is a secret. And I said, yes, sir. And that was it. I walked out and signed a lease on a space, a little bit bigger space. And, away we went.
How did that go? How did that, I mean,
Eventually he had to have
that's what I'm saying.
out.
He found out. So what ended up happening when he found
We did
out?
found it's nothing really. It was a customer that had come to us for something, and then she showed up at my warehouse, and we had like an office warehouse kind of 1,500 square foot place, and she called me and was like, "Is this your space?" And I said, "Well, yes, it is." And we weren't there all the time, obviously.
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, you have all the tables and chairs," and I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And she just didn't believe it. Long story short, well, she took my quote to them. And that's to the old, and that's how they found out that.
And was everything cordial after that? With the
no,
old owner,
they eventually they've sold in the last 12 months or so, but they hated me to the end.
Okay.
Which I get. I mean, and it's funny because for a long time, every quote of theirs that came across my desk, we did everything in our power to get that job, even if it meant losing money. It was winning, and then we got to the point where we're 5 times as big as they were, and the competition was over a long time ago. Yeah.
So how old were you then when you branched out and started doing that on your own?
37.
37. Okay. So prior to that, you worked for that company the entire time?
I worked for them so I moved to Jacksonville in 2004 and went to work for them pretty much right away.
Okay.
And, so from 04 to the fall, and actually I worked for them the spring of 11 before I quit. Yeah.
Okay. And so what company did you buy your first tent from?
Tent Rental Supply. So they bought a lot from Top Tech, and they had pole tents from Top Tech, and all their West Coast was from Tent Rental Supply. 'Cause it's easy in Florida. You can get it from Matt and them in a day. So that's what I knew. So I started buying West Coast stuff. Still to this day is basically all from Tent Rental Supply.
And then jumping into tabletop stuff after that?
Yeah, so they were wedding heavy. They had candelabras and stuff like that, which we don't do. But
we've had that topic of conversation, I think, on every podcast this week.
Yeah. Somebody brings up candelabra.
We used to own
Are you guys doing this as a joke?
Kneeling benches.
We used to own a Unity candelabra, but I think that's gone by the wayside. But they were wedding heavy, so it very much mimicked what they did. It's what I knew. So the inventory went that way early on. We never gotten that kind of stuff, but we did the same thing I think everybody does. When somebody called and wanted a black and white dance floor, we bought a black and white dance floor. And somebody called and wanted gold rim china, we bought gold rim china.
It's the easiest way to grow, especially when you're small.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid.
It's you mean you're all in before you even realize you're all in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's the only way you can grow slowly and organically, but it's hard. I mean, if you want to get it going, you just say yes and figure it out.
Who did you bring on, or how did you bring your first employee on there and kind of grow it on from that?
So my girlfriend at the time, she had a teenage son, so they were really the first employees. And then then I eventually hired somebody to help me sell, and but doing it by QuickBooks at that time and everything. Just
so out of the garage in the back of a budget truck.
So I never really did it out of the garage per se, but I mean, I was washing. I have employees that are still with me that remember me taking all the dishes and linens home and dishes and just chair covers and stuff, washing them at home in my kitchen.
In the dishwasher at home.
I used to work. First one in and last one out every day, and I would go home. I would take a trunk load. I had an SUV. I would take a trunk load of dishes and like chair covers and leg skirts and stuff home, and I would literally walk in the house. I would eat dinner, and then I would wash dishes and run the washing machine until 11 o'clock at night when I went to bed every single night. And then I would load the clean stuff back in my car and go back.
And how often were you wondering if this was all worth it?
Every day.
I never really had a moment where I didn't think it was worth it. I certainly had moments if I ever thought it was going to get to an equilibrium where it was going to sustain itself, so to speak, in terms of, just putting everything back into it and living like a broke man and everything else. I certainly question whether the capital part was ever going to catch up, which thankfully it has.
Yeah.
And where are you guys at today as far as square footage wise and employees?
So we're just under 50 employees. The current facility, we had a fire after the show in 24, so we moved because of that. So we currently in a building that's 47.5 basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that working for you?
It's good. We have that space and we have another space just up the street where our laundry is. That's about 7,000 square feet. So we're trying to consolidate the two. I think we'll get that done this year. With that, we'll need a little more space in the primary space, which is available. So hopefully we can stay where we are.
What's kind of your guys' primary events that you're doing? Are you more corporate weddings? What do you?
Mostly what we still do 55% or so is weddings. We're really good at somebody that wants a tent with tables and chairs and linen and china and so the whole thing. That we're really good at that. We don't do too much power and HVAC. In Florida, it's relatively climate, or relatively moderate in climate throughout the year.
Yep.
So we're just doing the sort of the full thing is what we're really good at.
Okay, I gotcha.
And inventory matches that, in terms of numbers of patterns and china and chairs and all that jazz.
Absolutely. So transition here a little bit. You are heavily involved in ARA.
Yep.
President of ARA. Now you're a board chair at ARA.
Yep.
For another 30 hours.
Yeah. Walk us through that a little bit and how you got to be the president, or what made you want to do that and get involved in the industry in different ways.
Sure. So it's funny. I met. I went full time in the business in the spring of 2011, and that fall I was at an auction in Tampa, and I met Brandon Algren, who now's
apologies
my best friend probably, and probably who's counting?
Depends what day.
And yeah, that is true. But we met, and then shortly after that, he got on the ARA Florida board, and I had filled out a survey that I was interested or something, and so my name came up on a call, and he knew me, and then Jim Browning knew of me, our ARA insurance agent. So that's sort of how I got the opportunity. And on the very first call, they called it a recorder, but it was a secretary, and I said okay. So literally the first call, I was an officer essentially, or whatever you want to call it, on the state board.
Yeah.
I did that for a while, and then here in Orlando, Peggy DeFrancisco was becoming president. She asked me to be vice president with her. When I remember saying to her, like, well, I don't know what that is, Peggy. Like, I don't know, I don't know how to do that. And then fast forward 10 years and be president of the whole association. But I say it all the time. I just said yes when there were opportunities came to me, whether it was to be on, I had the opportunity to be on SIG and be on different committees. I was around Show Task Force a couple of times. And just yes. And, and then regional director, and then executive committee with Dan Hooks when he was president.
Yeah.
And just by saying yes, and, I think I'm a very strong advocate for the industry, which, is part of the job duties.
And getting involved in general.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be in the right place in life. I mean,
right.
Your home life has to be in position where you can be away the amount of time you have to be away. It's a commitment. And
yours is pretty damn good now that you're married.
It is. But you have to, especially if you got to be on the board first. So you got to be a regional director or a SIG chair or whatever, and then be an officer. So you basically talk about 6 years. I mean, the business has to be able for you to be away a lot in those times. Your personal life has to be able, kids' activities and health and everything else you have to be. And age-wise, it has to fit, because some people, you get to a certain age, you wouldn't want to do it. Some people are too young, I think, to do it. So it's important that you're just in the right place
at the right time
to take it.
Tell me you shouldn't be a president of something at a certain age? Man, the United States should adopt that. Anyways, all right, off the rails there. So do you think lessons of ownership has kind of prepared you then for the leadership of that position? And I mean, you're saying that you got to say yes. And what I'm hearing is, if you take it all the way back to where you got into this box truck and you got this tent, you said yes, and you've said yes basically your whole entire life, all the way up until this point. Still are, and so what did that show you as an owner to help you prepare to be the president or be on the board?
Well, I think, all of us in business, and you don't have to be the owner even necessarily, but, being management in a business, you have so many decisions you make through the course of the day, and they're difficult decisions. I mean, there's people decisions, things like that. And it's no different when you get to be on the board and you get to be an officer. It's hard decisions. It's, you whether it's dealing with the CEO and the CEO's compensation, or whether it's you're dealing with we did the relocation of the association during the year I was president. We dealing with that.
Yeah.
You deal with people asking people to step off the board and things like that. It's all challenging, but it's no different than what you do on a daily basis at home.
Yeah, just being a good human.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Do you think there's some early failures or defining moments that kind of shaped your career path or anything that you've done?
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, there's more than I can count. I mean, I think, that's a great question. I can't think of one, to be honest. Yeah.
Just learned a lot of lessons along the way.
Yeah. My biggest thing, and I say this to our people in our team, is just try not to learn from the mistake and try to
Correct.
make it again.
Yeah.
That's where you get to be, crazy.
No, I would absolutely agree with that. I think that there's so many, as a leadership team, if you're not making failures, you're not learning, you're not growing, and you're not teaching others to help do that as well.
Yeah.
So
Even the shows, for example, as an ARA officer, there's things that we do with the show that, you want them all to hit, but there's some things that just don't work out the way you hope they would.
yeah,
And that's just the reality. And if you never take any chances, you're never going to miss.
To the small companies out there thinking about joining ARA who might listen to this, what advice do you have to kind of get them to buy in?
Do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any, I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense not to do it. But I also think if you're not going to get involved, don't do it, because that company the family-owned company that I worked for before I went out on my own, they were ARA members and never did anything. They came to the show in Orlando, maybe, but otherwise did nothing. They didn't go to any state events. They literally did nothing. The magazine came in and it went in the trash. They just did nothing with the membership. And in half the time that they've been around, we're, 5-6 times as big as they are. And it's directly tied to, my peer group is one, but ARA is there for sure.
I mean, just look at the foundation last night and how much money they raised. I mean, and everybody that is just jumping on board. And I mean, we're $800,000 last night just alone with everything that went on and the cool things that we're doing with the Bronco and things like that. It's awesome. I think everybody's jumping on board.
Well, you just learn so much from the people around you. I mean, I've been to so many people's stores that, done opportunities to be in people's stores and learn things from them. My staff has met members of other teams, organizations that they can go to them and ask them questions, which makes us better. There's just so much.
Well,
there's so much to offer.
You can find your best friends by coming to things like this.
Oh, I'm sure.
And if you don't go, you don't get to meet these people who are all having the same problems as you are.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the country.
I talk to Kyle more than I do my own wife during the day sometimes, which is probably not good.
It's weird if I don't hear from Nate before the end of the day.
I got married a year ago.
Yeah.
And my half of the guests was my brother, a lady that's worked for me basically the longest, and then a bunch of rental people. That was who was there for me. It was entirely rental people.
I've talked about it several times when I got divorced in 2017, 2018, got remarried, and I was kind of trying to figure out which direction I wanted to go, if I wanted to stay in the industry, get out of the industry, and got rejuvenated, decided to stay in it. I'm glad I did, because the biggest thing for me was just the people.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I could just up and leave the people, and we come to these shows and we're able to do these things and see everybody and hang out with everybody, just walking the floor and hanging out. And I mean, that's why you stay out late all the time at the shows.
Well,
it's just to know where
time is. You don't see these people all year.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, even
Once or twice a year, really.
Yeah.
even the past presidents, you see them come to the show. I mean, a lot of them don't even have rental businesses anymore,
Yeah.
but they come to the show because
It's fun.
they get to see their people.
Well, and that's why guys like my father or Mike, they don't want to retire fully because this is their life.
Yeah.
They want to be able to come see all their friends, their lifelong friends. You can't, once you're in it, you cannot get out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's in your blood.
Yeah.
So what do you think then you learned most from traveling around as president to different rental companies? I mean, you've seen all sizes, I'm sure, then, from the small guys to the large guys. What did you kind of learn from visits?
Well, I think two things. I think being around equipment people as well, the problems we deal with are this. It seems like it's a totally different thing, but the reality is that the problems that we face are the same things. It's people, it's tariffs, it's all the same issues. It's just on different equipment, obviously. And the same thing goes for as you travel around and see large and small. It's the same. Everybody has the same issues. It's the code. The code people in your county. It's you can't find people. Or you can't retain people, whatever the case is. It's all the cost of equipment, all that stuff. It's all the same issues for all of us.
Do you feel like when you went to some of these that you found a difference between like the independent operators and the bigger firms, the bigger like PE firms, or
Well, certainly as people get bigger, you see the controls they have in place because they can afford to have those controls. Because when you start, you're flying by the seat of your pants. You're using water barrels or you're whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And as you get further along and you have more at stake, you take the expense to put those controls in place. And that even thing, whether that's like RFID tags, but using 10 oxes and more concrete weights and all those kind of things, and you just see more controls in the bigger places.
Yeah, and more efficiencies and with the AI and automation and just sustainabilities and things like that.
And there's obviously there's a big spectrum there because there's the really small independents, and then there's the behemoths. There's a lot of people in the middle. Like we're way more mechanized than somebody that's super small, but we're nowhere near as mechanized as Party Reflections is, or Event Source is, or Chattanooga is. Yeah. But but we're way more mechanized than the smaller people.
Is there something that owners should kind of be preparing for? Do you think what's coming up with everything with technology and things like that they should start putting in place now or get ahead of, that you feel like is going to help them?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the workforce, because I don't know how many people are going to lose their jobs because of AI, or what AI is going to change. But there's the workforce, I think, is going to change a little bit, and I don't know how that's going to impact us.
Yeah, are those people going to want to take the jobs we're offering? That's going to be the biggest question.
And do we want them?
Yeah,
the other side, especially as they're stalled.
Because in theory, with AI, our office or managerial jobs are going to get easier.
Yeah.
So we don't need as many of those people. So it's really the field staff. It's where we need the people. Well, it's like someone who worked in an office for 20 years is going to want to come put up tents all day. That's going to be the interesting shift. I agree with you, to see what happens there.
Yeah. But then also there's the other side where I feel like AI is just going to make everybody in your business better for the things they're able to send out, or the quotes they're able to do through it, or just, putting emails together and things like that. So I feel like there's two different aspects there. But
Alan Berg's presentation the other day on Saturday, that's what he talked. He puts everything through AI every single time just to make it, clean it up, or make it shorter, make it longer. So things like that are just a no-brainer.
Well, I heard in one of the sessions, I don't remember whose it was, one of the ones I was in this week, where they talked about AI may not eliminate jobs, but it'll make your jobs easier. And that's what I've seen. It's like it allows me to, instead of spending an hour on something, I can spend 5 minutes on it, or whatever the case is. But the other side of that is we're all so busy, back to what we talked about before with the obligations you have at home and stuff. We're all so busy. It's almost like you're just getting it back to sort of a normal work day, as opposed to insanity that we're all.
I was just down on the showroom floor, and I put a quote together in a matter of 5 minutes by just talking to my phone, and was able to email and send it off without going back in and putting it into the system and everything like that. Yeah. So if I can do my job like that from where I'm at, I'm good.
Well, it's funny. We don't argue, but the big discussion in our office currently is I want to be able to run the entire business off of my cell phone.
Yeah.
So like I keep trying to force Brian, like, okay, we need to switch this, and he like gives me pushback on it because he doesn't get it. I want to sit in front of the computer, but it's 2026. You should be able to access everything at the tip of your fingers. Yeah.
100%. So while you're all gallivanting around, having fun, going to dinners, who's at the office taking care of everything? What do you got leadership team wise there?
So we've got a manager in all the places you would think. I've got a GM that's been with us, for a couple of years now, and operations manager, warehouse manager, logistics manager, who manages our load crew. Guys work second shift loading trucks. He manages them as well as the routing, and then obviously actually we have a sales manager starting when I get back. So it's a very good mix. A couple of people have been with us quite a while. Some of the people are newer, so it's a nice mix of they have the experience, but people have fresh perspective. They do a good job. It's you have to let them fall and bump their heads every once in a while, because that's all we got to learn. I can tell you, but it doesn't do the trick. They need to do it themselves. It's funny, our GM a few months ago, I came in one day and had this sign on the telephone pole in our parking lot that said "Will call," had an arrow to the back, like where our customer pickup is. And I didn't say a word. And then we were in our reservation meeting the next week, and he brought up like, "Oh, you see our sign?" I'm like, "I saw our sign, but there's one problem." And he goes, "Well, what's that? What's the problem?" And I said, "A customer has no idea what will call means."
Yeah.
And he goes,
True.
And he's like, "Oh shit," And I said, the thing is, I said, just ask. I said, it's still your idea.
Right.
Just tell me.
Yeah.
I'll help you. It's
Yeah.
still your idea.
Yeah.
So luckily we had another sign in the back that's a customer pickup. So we just switched them and it worked out. But it's just things like that. He has to make that mistake to learn.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's like that with anybody. Are you feeling like you're finding a good balance for hiring down in Jacksonville?
Yeah, we've been very lucky. We made a concerted effort about 3 years ago to really take better care of the people we had on the team. Bring the way we brought people in and take care of better care of
core
people on
group?
the team. Yeah, well, yeah, just in general, and it's significantly reduced the turnover because I've felt all along that's the easiest solution to the workforce problem. If you can just keep the people you have, then you don't need to be out recruiting.
Oh, absolutely.
So when we have an opening, we can generally fill it pretty quick. We're on the H2B program. This is the second year on that program. It's been really good for us. But
Did year one went well for you?
year one went well. Year two, we're most of the way, halfway through, I guess. They're here. We run them October to July.
Okay.
So
So your H2B guys, you got 5 of them.
yeah, we had 6, got 5 now. We sent one back. It's been a really good program for us. The biggest hurdle we've had that we didn't really think about or didn't anticipate was we have not been able to get any of them a driver's license, even though 5 of the 6 drove in Guatemala. We've not been able to get a Florida driver's license. So we've had to get them from the house to the office. It's only about 5 minutes away, so it's not a big deal. But that has been the biggest sort of unforeseen thing I think we dealt with.
Are you using them for your second shift?
So one of them works second shift, but the other ones all work on the day shift.
How long have you been doing second shift?
4 or 5 years.
And it's been working well?
Yeah. The key is keeping it. We've had a couple times where it's tiered on the edge of falling apart.
Yeah.
That's as long as you keep it going. So we had tried it previously and it sort of fell apart.
Yeah.
Well, I also think the big misconception is with the H2A and the H2B is the housing. So you mentioned the house, back and forth to the house. Are you facilitating that? Are you helping with that?
Yeah, so I bought a house and basically charge them rent weekly for the house and utilities and stuff, and pay one of them to take care of the yard and that sort of thing. But it's worked out. It's worked out well.
It's a loss leader, but you own the asset at the end of the day. So
And
Well,
they basically cover the cost. It's
That's what I was going to ask. So then in the off months when they're gone, are you having anybody else come in, or are you just holding that house?
Nah, we
Less
had
of a
some
headache.
stuff. We went in and did a little bit of work, which actually Brian's one that told me that was a lot of times what you do is go in and have to do some repair work when they're gone,
That's a good idea.
clean up and that sort of thing. So it's worked out. So and again, they're here until for us. We sent them back on July 15th, and we brought them back, just before the end of September. So we'll do.
oh yeah.
That's perfect. Well, just before we close out here, hit you with some rapid fire questions. One thing rental companies are underpricing: labor. Overrated trend versus underrated trend.
I'm going to give you one in the middle. I'm not sure what it is, and that's the black frame tent. And I'm not talking about the garden tent. I'm talking. But for the record, I just bought one. So I'm in the
Welcome
in
to the shit
question,
show, baby.
But I just don't know if it's going to last. Although I swore farm cables wouldn't last, and
Here we are.
Brian Richardson swore that sailcloths wouldn't last. So
I mean, Travaris are still floating around too. So
yeah.
Best ARA show memory.
Well, in New Orleans in 2024, I proposed to my wife on Monday night, so I'd say that probably has to be the
That was smart. Yeah. Hardest leadership lesson.
probably just the failures along the way, and that they make you better, and even as little ones, just always picking yourself back up, and you sort of don't get a chance to, as the leader of the group, you gotta put a good face on and keep going, and not because otherwise everybody will fold. They're looking at you to support them and stuff.
Absolutely. And advice for a young professional coming into the rental industry.
I have 2. Well, a joint ARA is 1. That doesn't count. Buy nice or buy twice.
it's a good one.
And get off a losing horse early. So if you got an employee that's a pain, that's just not doing it,
That's good.
get off a losing horse early.
I have one final question.
Yep.
What advice do you have for everyone out there after your fire to check in their warehouse?
It's extension cords and just, I don't think we necessarily did anything wrong. I mean, probably it's not overload, but just
eliminate as many extension cords as you can, plug things directly in the wall. If you use an extension cord, use it as just an extension cord, not an extension cord to a power strip, that sort of thing. Because that's where the fire started, whether it was something was faulty or whatever the case is, but it was in an office where we had plug on one wall and needed the desk on the other wall, so they had an extension cord around. Then he had power strip at the end of it, and then he had a multi-plug on the power strip. And again, it's, many people, when I told them that story, many people said, oh, it's stuff we all do. And it's true.
Yeah.
But we had a fire that was, was devastating. So,
Yeah. But you're recovering well. And, and you're doing great today. It sounds like the business is succeeding and you're doing just fine. So we appreciate you coming on today. And look forward to continuing to watch what you do, whether it's a leader in the ARA side or, just in your business in general, but also a good friend. So thanks for coming on, Jeff.
Appreciate it.
This has been another episode of Under the Vinyl, a rental management media podcast.